A very good Monday morning to you. I am Hilda Wadidi and you are watching Y in the Morning only on Y254 channel. And as usual, this is one of my favorite segments, which is Youth and Politics, where we discuss the role of the youth in governance in this country and also what they're up to when it comes to some of these projects. Now today, as we talk to the ladies in studio, because I have youth governors with me. Woo! Strength of a Woman has come through today before Man Crash Monday. I'm very excited about that. But anyway, with me in studio, I have the youth governor from Kitui County and also have the youth governor from Tharaka-Nithi County. I will allow them to introduce themselves before I tell you how you can get in touch with us. Let me start with you.
My name is Brightstar Kasyoka. I'm the youth governor. Kitui County.
All right.
Yes.
And I'm Anita Nkirote, Youth Governor, Tharaka-Nithi County. And thank you, Hilda, for having women.
Yes.
For once, women ran this table today. Asante sana.
All right. Now that the ladies are here and we're in red and we are ready, make sure you do slide into our DMs. The number is 22162. Start with YM254. On Twitter, we're at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y in the Morning. And on Facebook, we're at Y254 TV. And today, we're going to be discussing the National Youth Empowerment Strategic Plan, which was supposed to be used between the year of 2016 and 2021. It has 8 key focus areas. But before we continue, let's just find out, this is a video courtesy of UNICEF Kenya, what the generation youth now want in particular. What are the challenges the youth are facing? This is according to the youths in the street. Check out this generation youth now. All right. Before my director finds the clip, let me start with one Brightstar over here. What do you think the youth need now?
Sorry, I have a cold. Not a cold, I actually have a sore throat, so my voice is terrible.
I also have a miserable cough, but we are together.
But we have to do this.
Yes.
We are women of power.
Yes.
So I actually think what the youth need is not any more promises. The youth, what they need right now is action and plan. Because if you look at how the culture has been, every time people are being promised this and this and this, but when it comes to implementation, nothing happens. So I think the youth need implementation more than they need policies, because we have policies in place. We have, every county has a draft for what they should do for the youth. So I think the implementation is a process, because you can always plan for something, but if you don't take time for you to execute it, now it fails. So I feel like we need more action-oriented people than more promise-oriented people. Yeah.
So no more promises.
No more promises. We already have enough promises. So if we were to act on those promises, it would be in Vision 2000. I don't know, something like that.
I think the youth actually need a seat at the table. That has not been the case at all. If you look at the recent, for example, ambassadorial appointment, the youngest guy was 42. That's not anyone under 35. Youths need jobs, and this whole story of employment creation, blah blah blah, even the government has not created a conducive environment in terms of even jobs in the government sector. The bill that it was only a bill that has been introduced to reduce the chapter 6 requirements, which is certificate of good conduct, blah blah blah, but all these things always remain on paper. We want tangible stuff, and we want jobs now. Actually, because once you have the jobs is now when you can start thinking. Once you're economically empowered, that's the hierarchy of power. That is the hierarchy of growth. History ingine ya kuongea hapana.
Actually, when the Ministry of Youth was founded, they actually wrote this whole paper about the 8 key areas of focus when it comes to the National Youth Empowerment Strategic Plan. And they had all these things they're talking about. So I wanted to find out from you, before we continue, by the way, the youth governors of Kenya. Can you guys tell us about that? Because I'm sure someone at home is like, yeah, we have youth governors. Well, yes, you do, for every county. So let us know just a bit of background about the youth governors of Kenya.
Okay, the youth governors is non-partisan party organization. I'm sorry, it's a non-partisan organization that has 47 youth governors from every county. Every county has a youth governor, and then it has constituency reps for every county, for every constituency, and ward reps. So the aim of the youth governor is to bring youths together. If you look at the situation in Kenya, most youth don't even know their rights. They don't even know things exist, opportunities exist. They don't even know that you can form youth groups and be given funds as youths. They don't know actually all of these opportunities that exist for the youth, because most youths have already been demoralized because there are no youths in leadership. So what happens? Most youths give up. And even if you look at the situation in Kenya, even the youths in public places, those who are famous already, most of them will say, I am not interested in politics.
That's true.
And if a youth already who is already making a lot of money from other sectors like entertainment is not interested in politics, you can imagine what is the case of any youth who is down there, who doesn't know, like, if I graduate from college, I cannot get a job. You know, that's the situation that is in the Kenya. Like, most of even the youth in campus, they've given up. They're like hopeless. Like, I finished school. If I don't have connections, then I don't know where I'm going to.
Speaking of hopelessness and giving up, I will come straight back to you with something in particular that I know you're very passionate about. But before we continue, youth that's me calling you Youth Anita. Anita, what can you say about the youth governors of Kenya before we play the clip of what the youth want now?
I'd like to say it's a very powerful organization and an organization to watch out for. Remember, Hilda, hata wenye tuko hapa, we are very old. The mean age of Kenya is 19 years. And guess what? Statistics show that it's going to be even less. So it's going to be 17. So who are the decision makers in this country come 2022? Anyone running for presidency, for whatever is not looking for Hilda, is looking for the girl in high school, is looking for the primary school child, meaning the future is actually literally in the young people's hands. And the question is, do they know it? That's why YGK comes in, so that it can mentor these young people, especially in the political arena, entrepreneurial arena, so that we have leaders in all diversified fields. So actually youth governors are supposed to even mentor the young ones in their constituencies. That's why a youth governor will be in charge of the constituency reps. Apart from that, you're supposed to do a strategy paper where you show the strengths and weaknesses of your it's not just talk. You're supposed to look for your leaders. You're supposed to work together in bringing the youth issues to the table.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Amazing. Now that you've heard it from the horse's mouth themselves, they're here to mentor the youth as well. So what do the youth want now? Have a look at this clip, courtesy of UNICEF.
I'd say what worries me most about my future is job security, because the rate of unemployment in this country is rising.
I don't think the education system in my country prepares the youths for a bright future, because our education system is so exam oriented. Once you fail in your national exams, either primary or secondary, you are seen as a failure in the society.
Because there's a disconnect between what we learn in class and what we actually do in practice. And I think to change this, schools can invest in more clubs and societies whereby young people are encouraged to go out.
I feel the government needs to increase investment in schools outside urban areas, because quality education is mainly concentrated in urban areas.
And it's sad because you study so hard, but you're not assured that exactly you will get this opportunity.
Well, I think that the main skills we need as adults can be summarized in an acronym called STEP: social skills, technological skills, entrepreneurial skills, and people skills.
Men and women, or rather boys and girls, don't have equal opportunities in the field of empowerment and education, because we only talk about empowerment of women in terms of education. But once they've received education, where does it move to next? So there has to be stages in which women can get chances that men have already.
Women are seen as lesser beings, and the men are seen as more superior to women.
Women are given positions of housewives where they're meant to take care of the children rather than being given opportunities to go out there.
I do feel that my voice matters to decision makers. However, I find that for it to have the intended impact, it has to be loud and positively disruptive, as positive disruption is a catalyst for change.
Yes. There you have had the young people talking about a few issues and what they do expect even from the government and what is lacking in our particular society. And Anita, let me slide your way because you're from Tharaka-Nithi, yeah?
Yes.
And there's a gentleman there who's just said that we need changes in in the quality of our education system, because the quality education is only situated in urban areas. Is that true? And what can you say for your
Yes,
country?
I agree. Education is a big factor, and it needs to drastically change. It's like the information that is there. Young people were churned out of this education system. Honestly, by the time you're done with Form 4, you should be able to think critically on the issues. And what I'm worried about, because education is not necessarily about jobs, blah blah blah. That's really important, but it comes after. It's about the person who you are supposed to be. You're supposed to think critically, and the world is supposed to be your oyster. But what happens, if you notice, people become this much later when they're exposed to universities, which shouldn't be the case. And I think that's why the government has introduced the TVET, so that once you get out of school, you're also able to go into maybe plumbing, tailoring, blah blah blah, instead of all of us going to universities. We've really overemphasized on the education system. However, the challenge that we currently have, I think, around 13 to 17 universities, both private and public. So the challenge we are currently having in this country is, already the government is a minute too late in the establishment of TVET, because what happens to the students who've already done their degree programs and they are nowhere? What happens? How will the government absorb them? Because I don't believe you can have someone who has already done a degree and you're telling them, oh, by the way, you should have done the TVET. So that is not going to work out. Then on another issues they've talked about is women empowerment.
Oh, yes.
And as you know, I'm very passionate about women empowerment.
Yes,
and the positions of women, especially in leadership, is very wanting. And if anything, if there are problems, why are they always found in even women ministries? So
I know, I was also asking the same thing, but but it's okay.
But so not to divert from the topic, I'm saying women must be empowered, young girls must be empowered, and the issue of even lowering, for example, cutoff for young girls. Do you know statistics show that even if you lower the cutoff so that more women go to university, as is the case, not all of them graduate after 4 years. More men graduate than women, meaning we must have alternative forms of education. What is this education we are talking about? Is it wholesome? Is it wholesome? Yes. The question is it wholesome? If I'm a basketballer, footballer, will this education system promote me to nurture my talents as I grow up? What is this education system really? It must be able to nurture people from all different fields, not bookworms, not people who are not just mainstream lawyers, doctors. We must also have self-awareness, Hilda, so that young people know what they want to do. Not because Kasyoka has been told by her father to do law, she goes to do law. No, she must be self-aware. These are the things we are talking about. Education with a purpose, not education for education's sake. That will not move this country 1 inch.
Asante sana, Anita. Brightstar, speaking of empowered women, you yourself were empowered. And before even we move on, I'd like you to see a particular clip, because Brightstar herself has been aware for a very long time. And Anita says it. So do have a look at Brightstar and get inspired. Just in case you're wondering who
what will that child eat? Because people in the village, they go to the shamba. And with my hand, going to the shamba and tilting, I would do that, but my chokanga haraka. You know, and I'm not a right hand in the first place. So, I'm not a left hand, so it's something I've learned to make. So I was like, I'm going to work hard, so that in future, even if I get my children, they are going to have a good life. You see, I started planning for my children when I was like around 8, 9. I was like, my mom left me, I'm not going to leave my children. I've suffered a lot, my children are going to suffer. It's you people to decide your life. See your life 15 years from now, 30 years from now. Don't just see your life tomorrow. You know, just see, if I didn't see my life that time, I wouldn't be here. I would have gotten married off. I'm a pretty girl anyway, so it's not what. You know, but I knew I wanted to go somewhere. I knew I wanted to be someone so that I could help a generation. Then after and it was because I was bright. One thing I loved Stanley, he said that when I came to Maseno, I was vying to finance secretary. At this tiny kid, at that time I was vying with 16. I'm 16 years, I'm vying with 22-year-old, and I have a pussycat.
Yes, I have a pussycat in the university, and I have this tiny voice, and everyone was against me. And the only two people, especially Canvas, only two of them, Stanley supported me, and I didn't understand why Stanley was supporting me. He was always nice to me, by the way, and another one called Ezra Maingi. Those are the only two people who supported me. All Canvas were like, that's an outcast, she's going nowhere, she's going to be no one, she cannot win campus politics here, watoto. But I pressed on, and as Stanley told you, I won, and everyone was, of course the first time I did win, but I was nominated anyway. People were so impressed. I was nominated, I won as a finance secretary. And it was a story of, 90% of the people around me did not believe in me. And after today, they look up to me and like they don't understand how I made it. So I want to tell you, it's about you. It's about you. What the world views you doesn't really matter. I mean, what if one day you're fat? Okay, fine. That means you were eating well. When you were calculated. That's one good example I always like saying. If you have pimples, that means you have a lot of fat in your body. So just forget to do it. I mean, if you are tall, okay, fine, you can model. If you are short, fine, you can wear heels like me. All this kind of stuff.
All right, from the youth governor of Kitui County herself. It's about you. It's about us, the youth. Anyway, you're truly an inspiration with your pussycat. But anyway, while you were at Maseno, you talked about some of the challenges that are facing the tertiary education system, university students, what we have just been discussing about the educational system and the quality and the changes that need to be made. There was a major challenge that you had highlighted that faces the university students in particular. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Pardon?
You had mentioned a particular challenge that faces university students on that tertiary education level, and you had mentioned idleness. Let me just remind you. Just in case you've forgotten. So
yes.
Tell us a bit about where that came from.
Okay, first I can start with adding on women leadership.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing like women leadership. It's just leadership. I mean, me being a woman and someone being a man, you don't have to define me by being a woman leader. If I am a president, I am a president. I am not a female president. If I am a CEO, I'm a CEO. I'm not a female president. I think gender is not a basis of you using for you to say someone is
Kasyoka, I've not said gender.
No, I didn't say you. I was giving a general
I get. I get. I'm just explaining. I'm saying more women should be in positions of power.
I wasn't counteracting your point. I was giving a general opinion. I was giving a general point, so I wasn't like I was trying to clarify. Like even if you look at the general situation, we always say women leaders, women this and women CEO, women and this. But if it's a man leader, we don't say a man president. So why would we say that?
I think the emphasis is because from time immemorial, women have not really been at the forefront of leadership. So that's why I guess it is a big deal.
So that's my point. We have not really moved to women being in leadership until we move to a position where we can refer to women without putting the women factor. If we have 50-50%, we won't have to emphasize on the woman factor.
Yes, and Kasyoka, that will come honestly in a very long time. If you even look at developed democracies, look at USA for example, look at Hillary Clinton. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so I was trying to say we have a long way to go when it comes to women leadership. Personally, I'm passionate about kids. That's one you saw. Yeah. Because I believe the foundation and everything, both boys and girls are important to me. And I actually feel when you are mentoring, you should mentor both young girls and young boys. Because one for real is what is now happening in this, what actually happens to women is in society, the way they have been prejudiced to believe. Like if you look at it, when they lower the cut points, that's just what she said, we go to university, we are more in numbers, but the ones who graduate are very less. Others get pregnant on the way or something like that. And then what happens is we don't aspire enough. Women don't aspire enough. Like even me, when I was vying, a lot of women were, like not women, a lot of people didn't believe in me. Like whenever you are a woman and you're starting to vie, or you, like I tell people I'll vie in 2022, and I mean some close friends are like, you know, that will be dependent with the husband you'll marry. You know, like I mean when you are when you are someone in leadership and you have ambitions, they don't take you seriously. And the prejudices, I mean especially if you are pretty, the stereotypes that pretty women, I don't know, should be concubines, you know, all those kind of stuff. I think it's all whole, like a society is fighting the girl child, and if a girl child doesn't have the strong mentality to come out of it, then you will not go anywhere because you have these people fighting you. So what I believe, like, we need more women who are aware of themselves. Like, it doesn't matter if my dad thinks that I should be a nurse, I'm not going to be a nurse. If I want to vie, I will vie. You know, there's that leadership ambition gap. And if you've read that book of Lenin by Cheryl, she is a woman, the CEO of Facebook. Like, that woman, she talks about women leadership, the leadership ambition gap. Like, women don't dream enough because the society makes you feel like as a woman there's some limitation. But this is a woman who has a family, she has children, but she already dreams enough because her husband is supportive. So I actually feel it's not really about women, it's about both genders, because the men have to come on board and accept, like, my woman being successful doesn't mean that I am a weaker man. It means we are better people, because if you have a woman who can challenge you in the house, you'll be a better man, you know. But there's also this thing that some men feel like if my woman is very powerful, I'll get intimidated. But unless, like, we train both genders to accept that if a woman in leadership is not a threat, and a woman in leadership doesn't mean she has to be rude or arrogant or all that. And again, another question I have on the woman leadership issue, it's the first time I'm talking about another issue I have. I've never talked about it anywhere because for me I focus on children, but today she brought it, you brought it, I felt I need to contribute on it. Another issue I have on the women leadership factor is why is it that if I am a woman and I speak up on an issue, someone will tell me you are moody, you know, like we are associated with the moods and all that. And if a man speaks on the same issue, it's not a problem. So I feel we need to stop
stereotyping.
You know, my governor is a female, and if she speaks about something and then someone says Ngilo is a woman and she's moody, what nonsense is that? I mean, she's speaking about it because she's human and she feels like she can speak, you know. So that's it. So your question, now we can go back to what you're asking about. Hopelessness and idleness. I highlighted on that in the newspaper, right?
Yes.
So I mean, in the campus scenario, most of the students are hopeless because they don't have the basic necessities. I mean, the government will sponsor some of them, which is not fully sponsorship. So if it's 20,000 to 20,000, you know, for me, I used to think 100,000 is 100 shilling. It's very less money. But after interacting with a lot of students, you find like 100 shilling can feed a student for a whole week. Some of these students come from very, very poor backgrounds, and once they get to universities and they cannot even afford meal, you cannot go to class when you are an empty stomach. But an empty stomach cannot study. Like some so say they opt to not go to classes, and then again the rents are very expensive. The landlords take advantage of the fact that schools, I mean, there are not enough housing in the schools, so the housing is very expensive. You find a student is in Maseno University and is living in Kisumu, that's like 200 to and fro. And how can you spend more money on your transport and on your food?
Especially now that the fuel prices are up and the fare is coming up. Like life is becoming more expensive.
Life is becoming more expensive, and if you go to the help, it's constant. So I think also like we think if we are improving, I mean, if the life is becoming more expensive, then also the student loan should be increased.